AI is changing your customers' expectation. As they work with AI tools themselves and they work with businesses that have integrated AI tools into the core of what they do, their expectations are rising. And I need to talk to you about this because I've spent the last week interviewing 20 user experience designers for our positions here at Minimal Viable Launch. And I think an awful lot of people have got a huge shock coming to them. They don't realize that AI has changed the game and they need to adapt or die. They're thinking that these tools are rumbling on, but the game is going to continue to be played like it was before. And I don't think there could be anything further from the truth. When new capabilities arrive on the market, expectations adapt very quickly to that not just being the remarkable thing, but being the normal thing, the expected, the standard. Where this conversation went with these user experience designers, which I think highlights this, is I'm trying to convince these designers that with AI tools, we now need to become full stack designers. We develop these AI moonshot products here at Minimal Viable Launch. And in the past, that would be 2 to 3 weeks of UX UI design and research, and then maybe 8 weeks of development, launch an MVP, and start to help a business scale from there. And if we've done our product strategy right, we've done our go-to-market strategy right, we get a big win for some of our customers. And what we've been experimenting with, what I've been trying to disrupt ourselves with, is people say to me all the time, well, why would I pay for your service when I have Lovable, Replit, or Russel V0? And the answer to that has to be a good one, because those tools are good tools. They do get entrepreneurs results, and I can bury my head in the sand, or I can choose to adapt and die. I can choose to disrupt ourselves so that we don't face our own Kodak moment, okay? What we have been doing instead is now I sit and become much more consultative with those clients. We spend more time discussing their idea, leveling their idea up, giving them the benefit of my wisdom and experience of these product launches. You know, we've launched products that have hit millions in revenue within the first 12 months. So shortening their learning gap and not worrying about the production of the thing. Production of the thing is going to become almost infinitely cheap as AI can spin out an animated movie, a series of social posts. It can do your fashion shoot for your new product launch. It can spin up a website in seconds. It can even vibe code an MVP if you want it to. And we can debate how good the quality of these outputs are right now. But the reality is, this is the worst it's ever going to get. This is the worst. Just look at the Will Smith eating spaghetti progression. It was absolutely terrible. Then it was pretty decent. And now it's remarkable. And it will continue to go on that exponential curve of development until we hit some plateaus and we taper off. Now, you can bet your horse that we're hitting that plateau already and that AI isn't really going to change anything. But in the case of these user experience designers that I was talking to, they were digging their heels into the mud and they were saying, I'm not going to change my toolset. I like Figma. I like producing these fancy PowerPoint designs that takes 2 weeks that we click through. I think that's valuable. And my challenge to them is I can get as much value out of the thinking you've done there with a pencil sketch, with a Sharpie, or a tool like Excalibur within a couple of hours of research and conversation. Why? Justify to me why the customer should pay you for 2 weeks to do this when they're not professionals themselves and they can vibe code a prototype of their idea within an afternoon. You're the professional. You should be better and you should be faster than them. How are you integrating these AI tools into your process so you can do one thing? Not so that we can fire you. I have no interest in not working with designers. They bring so much more to the table than pushing pixels around and connecting up fancy PowerPoints in Figma. They are creative people. They are people who challenge the status quo. They bring high leverage ideas and strategy to the table when they're allowed. What they need to be doing, and what every industry needs to be doing, is analyzing how they can be high tech, high touch in their processes and their flows. That is, using technology to get the work out of your way as much as possible so that you can spend more time thinking, strategizing, and consulting, so that you can be the co-pilot to your clients, so that you can be the non-congruent voice in the room with your clients. If your clients are just vibe coding and they're using ChatGPT to validate their ideas, they have yes men surrounding them at every level. That AI is telling them their idea is world class, that design is beautiful, it's 100% going to work. The value now is not in creating the beautiful logo. It's not in creating the beautiful design, color palette, and mood board so that we can help get a client a result. We can do that in seconds for almost no cost right now, and probably at a level better than most freelancers that I'm speaking to, quite frankly. You have to move around the table to sit side by side with your client and use these capabilities so that you can be more consultative and more strategic. Ron Baker, in his book Value-Based Pricing, which is an absolute tome of a book and it's about accountants, but I highly recommend entrepreneurs read this because it's about how you realign your pricing and your service to value, not charging hourly, but to the value you output to the customers. And when you think about this, he has this graphic inside that book called Value Smile Curves. And on every single curve that he displays in that book, production, being the factory worker, the person who mans the machines, is always the lowest paid work because it's the least valued and it has the least leverage. If you are a freelancer, if you are a consultant who is feeling that fear that AI is going to disrupt your industry, is going to disrupt your way of life, you're right, your gut and your brain is telling you something that you need to listen to. And it isn't to go and listen to it by burying your head in your sand and ignoring it and digging your heels in. It is to listen to it and say, integrate, innovate, disrupt yourself. How can you do your work in 1/10 of the time so that you can spend 10x amount of the time being a valuable co-pilot to your clients? Become highly personalized, become high tech, high touch. There are going to be two types of people in the post-AI world: those who use AI to consume and those who use AI to become incredibly productive. I want you all to listen to this and become incredibly productive. This isn't going away. It's not going to have this AI bubble pop and suddenly not be in existence. We've open sourced the technology, the papers are out there, the knowledge is out there, the workforce has been built, and even if 99% of those companies burn to the ground, the technology will still exist and will still carry on. This is now a reality. Pandora's box has been opened. We're not putting it back in. Even in the dot-com bubble of the 90s, where billions upon billions of investment was burned overnight as that bubble popped, we still had companies like Google, Meta, Amazon, and thousands of other companies use the technology of the information age to become incredibly valuable and incredibly disruptive. Don't ignore this. Don't look back in 2030 and think, you know what? I knew this is something I should have paid attention to and I lost my opportunity. Lean in, don't lean out. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Hopefully you found that useful. If you did, YouTube thinks you will like these videos next.